We really appreciate it. In these challenging times, it's still nice to connect and new things. So hopefully if this is the first time for you hearing about the Honors College, this session will be helpful, and are lucky to have experts on the call today. That's our current students to answer your questions. So I hope you get those ready for them. Sounds like a lot of people still joining us. So, but we'll get started. Actually, I think, if you have heard an Honors College presentation before, this part might be a little redundant for you, but might also be a good refresher. So you can feel free to check back in about 15 minutes if you've heard this all before, and at least then get your questions answered by our students. And if not, we're just going to give a brief overview, and hopefully this will be helpful to you as you consider your options for college. Michigan State is a big comprehensive university. It has so many things going on all the time. We wish that it was busier these days around campus, but it's a community. It's really a family of about 50,000 people. And the Honors College has a unique space and place inside that big comprehensive university. And so we think of it, the Honors College has about 4,000 students plus right now. And we think of that approximately 10% of our undergraduate population, which is about 40,000. We think of it as a smaller community within. And there is nothing that you can't do in combination with the Honors College at Michigan State. So I see someone's, planning a double major, or is, thinking about multiple things. We'll talk about how that can work, even if you want to take advantage of different parts of the university. And we have a feeling we can help it make it feel like a smaller community for you as you're looking at your college options. So big place, but within that, we want you to start thinking about your interests in particular and what makes you unique as a high achieving student. Before we launch into what the Honors College is, if you can think about your own interests and be able to take advantage of a university, it might be helpful to think about the fact that most high achieving students have multiple interests, and we call that characteristic multipotentiality. It is the idea that you might be good at many things, and high school is really about showing that you're good at many things. And usually then we think of college as someplace where you have to specialize in one thing. But if we could offer you something today, is to think about how you could come to college and do everything it is that you want to do. And especially with MSU's 200 different majors, there might be many things that you want to do. So multipotentiality is also a good response for people who say, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? And they're usually looking for that one thing that you say that's important to you. But here we know if we give you some flexibility in this kind of a big comprehensive university environment, you're the type of people who will use your multipotentiality to do many things in this kind of a context. So we have a very unique approach here to working with your multipotentiality. And one of the things we do right away is we free you from all of your standard courses at Michigan State. Now you've probably heard of that set of classes being called general education or core requirements. And our students, in fact, don't have a set of core requirements when they're in the Honors College. They certainly have guidelines of how we'd like them to complete those general education requirements. These are classes that you would do outside of your major to be a well-rounded college student. But we don't prescribe them for you when you're in the Honors College. You actually get to design your own individual general education using everything MSU has to offer. And so you might be an engineering student and also be able to design your own and choose your own set of humanities courses and your own set of social sciences courses, knowing that every student who graduates from Michigan State will need more than just their major classes. But as an Honors College student, you'd have hundreds of classes to choose from to build your general set of classes that you also need to graduate from Michigan State. And so our students typically love that flexibility. You can ask them about how they use that. The other thing we do is that as you look around the university and you're taking advantage of your multi-potentiality, you are not bound by most rules that exist on classes. So you'll see things like, well, this class is not open to students who aren't history majors, or this class is only open to students who are in the James Madison College or who are juniors. And these restrictions don't typically apply to honors college students. So I think about how many times you see a prerequisite on a course, and an honor student would be able to say, you know, am I ready for that kind of a class? And maybe you have to check in with your advisor about whether you're ready for that high level class. But many of you are ready to do advanced level work, and certainly maybe not freshman level work or first year level work when you arrive to college. And our experience is that you are students who are taking advantage of AP and IB and dual enrollment. And so this gives you the ability to look around Michigan State and decide what it is you want to do with the flexibility of waiving most course prerequisites. So that's a little bit about the flexibility of Honors College. Certainly the Honors College, we think, is one of the oldest in the country. And our founders, I think they had a lot of foresight when they thought about giving this kind of flexibility to high achieving students, because it's not even like other honors programs. In a sense, this is a different kind of program, in that what we'd like you to do is use the advantages of flexibility and replace these standard requirements with things that interest you more, which is also really important for high achieving students. One of the ways that we can provide challenge for you is by offering honors courses. And you can see here some of the words our students use to describe honors classes. You can actually talk to them about that today. If you have questions, we head that whole set of things as honors experiences, because there are many ways you can earn honors credit. You can take an honors course, so there's honors calculus, and there's also regular calculus, and you can choose, do I want the honors section or the regular section? Same with many other courses around the university: history, biology, chemistry, physics. You'll usually have a choice, especially on the foundational level, of whether to do honors or non-honors. And you make those choices for yourself. And you also have something called the honors option, where you can make a contract with your professor to do extra work in a regular class. So maybe you love your microbiology class, and so you approach the professor about what you could do in addition to that regular microbiology class to make it an honors course. And between you and the professor, you decide on what would make it honors. And if you complete that project that you've agreed on, then you earn honors credit, just as if you had taken honors calculus, for example, and that H shows up on your transcript. We ask you to do 8 of these honors experiences by the time you graduate. And if you do the math, you're at university usually for 8 semesters. That's 1 honors per semester. I should mention too that there's a third way you can earn honors credit. That's just by taking a graduate course. So in that case, you have to have permission from a faculty member. But it's an awesome way to get a sense of what graduate school is about. Then we also find that we have students who are taking advantage of dual enrollment, where they're dually enrolled as undergraduate students and graduate students at the same time. And so maybe you want to earn a master's degree in mathematics while you're here, get a start on a graduate program in physiology. You can do that. And for those first 3 classes you take in the graduate program, you pay the undergraduate rate, which is also a nice benefit. And so these are all the ways you can earn honors credit. These are not extra classes you would take. These are classes that you would take anyway. You're just substituting in the honors version for those classes. But I encourage you to ask our students about their honors experiences. So with a lot of flexibility, you need great advising. And I think at a school of 50,000, you'd think, well, you know, it's a big place. Will I get lost? Will I have people to talk to? We have an awesome set of advisors at the Honors College. We also have departmental honors advisors. So they're folks that are in your specific discipline or disciplines who work with you on the internships that you might like to do, or the research experiences, or the education abroad programs that are right for you. And so you always have someone you can go to say, you know, is this class too challenging for me as a first year student, or should I wait on taking this graduate level course? So our advisors also can help you with advising about national and international fellowships and scholarships. So we have, I think we have a great set, dual layer at least if you have one major of advising, and that helps our students with the flexibility that they have. We have a few things that we would like to encourage you to do outside the classroom. Now, research is probably first and foremost on our mind, and if you've had any exposure to research, you know that this is a great way to help you make decisions. And as I've mentioned, high achieving students often have a harder time when people say, what's the one thing you want to do? And so we would say, check it out through research. We know that it has been researched actually that research is one of the best things you can do as a college student to figure out what you may want to do next. If you love research, maybe a career in academia would be great for you, or becoming a professor, or doing research for the rest of your life. In other cases, you're a problem solver and you learn that you'd rather problem solve in a field than in a research setting. And so these are great things to learn, and we would prefer that you not wait until you're a junior or senior in college to get these experiences. So we have a number of ways that you can hook in right away with research. And we know that great things happen when first and second year students get involved in research. So we have a paid research program. That's probably our most elite undergraduate research program at the university. It's called the Professorial Assistantship Program. It pays you for your work, and it's limited to a certain small set of students, but 200 students over incoming, about 700 students to the Honors College first year class. And it's a great opportunity, but it's only one way that you can get involved in research. And then our honors research seminars help students have small research classes so you can get research experience early on, even outside the PA program. So we encourage you to do that. You might hear even from our students that they have publications that they're working on. They're really becoming scholars in their field before they are becoming officially scholars in their field. We love that they have that chance to do that early on. Some of the things you've heard are really about us trying to make the things that are great about college come earlier than you would expect them to come within your college career. And so research is one of those where you might think, oh, I could do that as a junior, but we want you to start early because it does make a difference and it changes your life. And you can ask our students about that too. So another thing that could be life-changing for you is having the opportunity to study in another country. We use the term education abroad or international engagement because really study abroad is more than just going and studying in a classroom in another country. You might be doing research like the Euro Scholars Research Abroad program. You might be doing an internship. You might be doing a medical mission. These are all things that could be under the heading of education abroad. And we really encourage you to do this. Our students study abroad, do education abroad at a higher rate than the regular population at Michigan State, which is already very strong nationally in the top 10 in the nation. But Honors College students sometimes study abroad more than once. And so it's a great opportunity to go. It is never easier, except for right now. It is usually never easier for our students to go abroad than when you're in college and someone is looking out for you and planning the details of those experiences for you, or at least helping with them. So we encourage you to do that. We also encourage you to give back no matter what your talents and interests are. We hope you'll find a way to give back. This is a picture of just one of our programs, but it's become a really important program to us over the years. It's where we have 40 of our incoming students move into campus early. And they do service in our local area focused on addressing inequity, social inequity in our local area. And so that's called HC Impact. That's the week before classes begin. And it's just for honor students, a small set of honor students who apply especially for this program. We also have student organizations that address service. You can also do one of those honors options or several of those honors options that I talked about, where you're making contract with your professor to do extra work in a class. You can do those as a service-focused experience. So we encourage you to give back. You're people that have been, that have a lot of talents to share, and so we hope that you'll continue to give back, knowing that many of you are giving back currently in your own communities. So we're just asking you to continue that and to figure out how to use your talents specifically toward solving problems in the world. It's the MSU way. But it's really important to the honors community at MSU as well. We have a big community. We're a small college relatively at Michigan State, even with 4,000 students. We want our students to feel like they could be a part of our own community. And so we have our own student organizations. To decode some of these, Mosaic is our multicultural organization that fosters multiculturalism in the Honors College. H-Star, you'll meet some of those students today. Honor students actively recruiting students who care about sharing their experiences with high school students so that they can learn more about being honors at Michigan State. We have a number of other organizations that I think you can tell the purpose of here. And we have a lot of our own events as an Honors College community, so we welcome our students to get involved. Now, our students are also involved in things like varsity athletics and the marching band and running their student governments and any other thing you could do at Michigan State, our students are doing. But they can get involved in our organizations as well. And we also have honors housing. You could ask our students about the choice you have as an honors student, not the requirement, but the choice you have to live with other honors students and community in our residence halls. And so that's a great opportunity as well. And I think at this point, I'm going to turn things over to Andrew, and I will advance the slides for him so you can learn a little bit about postgraduate opportunities as an honors student.
Absolutely. And when we talk about what the Honors College is and sort of how it works, I think one of the really important aspects of it is what it can do for you, right? So, you know, in many ways, I think of the Honors College as a privilege that you earn. You earn through your academic achievement in high school and certainly challenging yourself. But the Honors College is a great way to distinguish yourself from your peers, not just here at Michigan State, but really nationally. So when we look at outcomes and ask our graduates what they do, about half of them will go to graduate school immediately after earning their undergraduate degree. And again, many will double major. Many of our students bring in credit, so some may graduate early. We do think of our program as a four-year program. I think having that credit coming in will help you in terms of having time to go abroad and do research and double major, but many of our students are extremely competitive at a national level, and I don't want to undersell them in any way. So you can see on this slide some of the really prestigious institutions where we send students each year, some of the top programs in their fields and certainly across the globe when it comes to the universities themselves. And we did include our friends in Ann Arbor here in the bottom right corner. We sort of tucked them away. There are a few who make the trip down south, but you know, for most of our students, I think just having the opportunity to go towards a graduate degree, whether that be a master's or PhD, and in many cases receive substantial funding towards those degrees, is a really important part of why we support students and how we can help encourage them to really leverage the resources of the university and really help them stand out at a national level. There are some students who decide not to go to graduate school, and we think that's certainly okay too. I think partially this is based on the field that you enter. So some engineering students might be more primed to enter the workforce earlier. There are some specific fields that are less dependent on graduate studies. So you can see just a quick variety of companies where our students have worked. Most of the students, the clear majority, 97% in 2018 of our graduates are employed, gainfully employed within 6 months. And many of our students actually will receive job offers prior to their senior year or during their senior year. So it's not uncommon at all to have our rising seniors really sort of thinking already about their options, and then as they get into senior year, really contemplating what they're going to do after they graduate. I do also want to talk just a little bit about scholarships. I know that for some of you who are juniors and maybe even some seniors, this is a really important part of making your college decision. So one of the main ways that we award scholarships at the university is through what we call ADS, the Alumni Distinguished Scholarship Competition. This is an annual competition. We've been doing it, I want to say, for at least 50 years at MSU. We award our full rides through this process. So there are about 15 full ride scholarships, what we call our Alumni Distinguished Scholars, about 25 additional full tuition awards, and then about 85 or so other awards, about 120 scholarships in total that we award through that process. And typically that takes place at the end of January, early February of your senior year. So for those of you who are juniors now, that'll be 2021. It's really our best chance to show you what MSU has to offer. It's a really big opportunity to come and see us. So for those of you who may be out of state looking for a chance to visit MSU, obviously the summer and even the fall may not be the best time, but ADS is a wonderful opportunity. We hope that you would get involved in that. As a current student, so for those of you who are seniors, we offer a lot of scholarship opportunities as well, especially to support things like education abroad and doing undergraduate research. So we have many different awards. We partner with the MSU scholarship system. So there's a whole website and sort of database where you can find scholarships. You would apply in the spring each year. And honestly, we don't have a ton of honor students who fill this out every year. It's kind of a shame that we have so much opportunity in terms of scholarships, but only a few candidates for each award, because we really hope that students take more advantage of this in the future. And lastly, we do have what we call our NIFS office, National and International Fellowships and Scholarships. And this is really important because one of the great things that our honor students will do is be very competitive, again, at that national and global level for very prestigious awards. And some of those, will come through internships or programs, but others will come as a gateway to graduate school. So when we talk about things like the Rhodes Scholarship or the Marshall or the Truman, these are national awards or sometimes global awards where only a few students are chosen each year to receive funding to go on to graduate programs of their choice. And we have been very competitive at MSU, not only with our students being finalists for these awards, but also winning these awards. So our NIFS office supports our students individually and sort of collectively as a group, providing support, whether it be mock interviews or helping with the applications, your resumes. It's a really important part of helping elevate our students to that very upper echelon of academic talent in the world. So beyond that, at this time, I think, do we have one more slide or are we? No, I think we're good. So at this time, I do want to welcome our current students. They've been sort of hiding out, maybe taking a quick break, but we're very happy to have 4 of our great student leaders on campus joining us this afternoon. And I will let them go ahead and introduce themselves. So if you want to just say your name, your major, some things that you're involved in at MSU. For those of you who are on the call, this is a great time to start thinking of questions. I said that Dr. German put in the group chat to write those questions there. So if you need a 5-minute warning to start thinking of questions to ask our students, this is the time. But let me go ahead and turn it over to Joseph first, and then we'll just sort of go in order.
Alrighty then. Yes, hello all. I'm Joseph Slifka. I am a senior here at MSU. I am studying physics and mathematics, so double major, as well as a CS minor. In addition, I have done research all 4 years on campus. I've taken part in the Science Olympiad Club here. If anyone's ever done Science Olympiad, we do the state tournament here. Usually it would have been this last weekend, but quite unfortunately, due to situations, we will not be taking part in that. But at the same point, and I also studied abroad back in my sophomore year over the summer. I went to Rome. So did a lot of cool things while I was at MSU. And I'm looking forward to going to Berkeley in the fall to pursue my graduate degree, my PhD in physics. So maybe Kanishka can go next.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kanishka. I'm a junior majoring in computer engineering. I'm from Sri Lanka. On campus, I was a professional assistant for the Honors College my freshman and sophomore year, and I'm currently an undergraduate research assistant in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. And I'm also a resident assistant on campus. I've also been involved in the International Scholars Advisory Board in the Honors College. I'm the social chair for the International Scholars Advisory Board and the incoming president for next year. I'm also a member of H-Star, and I've also I was also a leader for the Alumni Distinguished Scholarship competition this year. So yeah, that's kind of some of the stuff that I've done.
Hi, I'm Viji. I'm currently a freshman. I'll be a rising sophomore next year. I'm majoring in nutritional sciences and human bio through Lyman Briggs and minoring in bioethics and health promotion. So you can obviously get on pre-med track. I'm involved with H-Star, which is kind of what we're participating through today. I'm also involved in pre-SOMA, which is the pre-students of osteopathic medicine. I'm also on a competitive Indian dance team. That's like something important to me. It's like way I can kind of celebrate my culture. Through the professorial assistantship program. I do research in like a food science and human nutrition lab, which kind of relates to my major, which is really cool. And yeah, I guess that's it.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm a little stuffy today. Hi, everyone. My name's Mackin, like mac and cheese. I'm a freshman this year, rising sophomore, and I'm a political science major with an emphasis in pre-law, and I'm minoring in law, justice, and public policy, and hopefully economics next year, depending on how my class I have scheduled goes. On campus, I'm involved in a number of different things. So I'm in H-STAR, as everyone else is, honor students actively recruiting, which we'll have an opportunity to talk about more later. And then I'm also the vice president of the Rotaract Club on campus, which is, if you know what Rotary International is and what they do, we work with the local Rotary clubs in East Lansing and the surrounding areas to coordinate fundraising efforts for local and international service projects. And in addition to that, I'm on the Refugee Outreach Collective, which deals with refugees in the East Lansing area and helping them accommodate to life in the United States and just promoting cultural awareness of these people who are immigrating from war-torn or embattled countries. And other than that, I'm also a member of the Social Science Scholars Program on campus. So if you have any questions about that or anything else, please let me know. I also conduct research on Northern Ireland and the opioid epidemic.
So Mackin, just before we get started, your background is absolutely gorgeous. I take it that's not a virtual background, huh?
Yeah, I'm on my deck right now. I'm in the mountains of Southern California, so I get to be in the forest.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So when we talk about where students are from, it's a great testament to show that we bring students to MSU from all over the country, but appreciating the California scenery from afar today. But
happy to deliver.
Yeah, for sure.
What, Andrew, is my bedroom not good enough for you? Is that the problem here?
Clearly mine is not either, but I did want to at least give Mackin some credit for definitely having the best Zoom background I've seen this spring. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for your questions. I think this is probably the quickest start we've had. So Zoe has kind of a two-part question. She says she's an incoming freshman, Lyman Briggs, and wants to know, one, how soon should we be looking for research? And two, if she's planning on using AP credits to waive intro classes, how hard would it be to pursue honors classes and upper level courses coming straight out of high school? So those are great questions.
VG, you're in Lyman Briggs, correct? Maybe.
Mhm. Yeah.
Can you talk at all about research? Have you been doing research this year?
So I started research like right from the beginning, but that was because I was placed through a lab. If you're not already placed in a lab, I would suggest like I know one of my friends, they like email professors actually starting right in the beginning of the semester. And so you have to do a lot of emailing, and also you want to follow up in person as well, because professors are going to receive a lot of emails from students. So, and if you're in, I know another way you can get research is if you're currently enrolled in a class with a professor and they like talk a lot about their research, after class or during their office hours, you can always go up to them, ask them about it, say that you're interested. And if you do really well in the course, they'll oftentimes, let you work in your lab. So that way I would really start kind of hit the ground running. Obviously, you might not get into the lab until second semester, but you definitely want to be, on the lookout if a professor mentions that they have, available spots in their lab or they're looking for undergrads, really going and making a connection with them, going to their office hours, asking about their research are all really good ways to kind of get involved. And with your AP credits, I know with a lot of science classes you can get out of like, Gen Chem or like Intro Bio. And if you feel like you learned the material well in your AP class, like, on the AP exam, you kind of knew what you were doing and you feel like you learned the material well, I would say go ahead and go into that upper level class. I went straight into organic chemistry this year. I didn't take Gen Chem, and honestly, it was fine. It was obviously a tough course, but I didn't regret not taking the intro level. So I would just base that off of how you feel you learn the material in high school.
And then the honors version of that, continuing off of that, I feel like for me, I also came in with a good amount of credit. I didn't actually have AP, but I was able to skip a lot of my general math and like math credits, physics credits. And I didn't even really use a lot of my honors options. I actually took more honors classes, and then I also did honors options in my those flexible classes that Beth mentioned during the presentation, where you can do some different classes for like your basic science or basic social studies or your basic arts and humanities. I kind of used those as my honors options, and I actually ended up leaving with, I have now 11 honors credits, so I wouldn't worry too much about like getting out of your intro level classes. You'll find other ways to do honors options if you talk to professors. They're usually pretty generous.
And just a quick note to add, the average student will bring in about 20 credits of AP or dual enrollment or IB work. We ask students to do at least 3 of those honors options again before the sophomore year, but many of our students will front load those honors courses. So, you know, as you're registering this summer for orientation, if you're a senior or if you're a junior and you apply next year around this time, feel free to start adding honors courses. Like Joseph said, if they're inherently honors sections or even just planning to honors option a few courses, it's always at your pace. So you can choose which classes to option, you can choose how many to do, but we typically don't find that many students have a problem with satisfying the honors college requirements. They're pretty flexible in terms of the timing. So the next question is from Alex, and he asks, can you live on an honors floor if your roommate isn't in the honors college? And that's a great question.
I would like to give my personal experience with this. The answer is yes, very much so. The nice thing about MSU is that we have honors floors all over the campus. And not only is it's not like we're just honors exclusive. It's more of a designated spot where the honor students can be housed, but then they're integrated in with all the other residence halls. So I know for me, I lived on an honors floor my freshman year. I lived with a fellow honors student who I was matched with through university preference, so I didn't know him beforehand. But about half of the floor was actually not honors. It was a lot of people who were just students who had gotten generally admitted to MSU. And I thought that it was a great experience on that floor. We meshed very well. Like there wasn't any problems on the floor. I felt like actually that was the closest I ever felt to one of my floors was my freshman year, when I was able to go out and talk to either sophomore honor students or other fellow freshmen. And so I know people who have other honors experiences that are similar. I think that honors housing was one of my favorite parts about MSU housing. So I would definitely encourage it if you can access it. And yes, your friend will not be like surrounded by a bunch of other people who are honor students who just want to sit around and study. Honor students also like to go out and do things together. We always had video game nights. We would sometimes watch movies. I remember every Sunday was football, so everyone would sit in the commons area and watch football together. You know, you'll have those options for sure. So don't tell your friend like, yes, you're going to be surrounded by people who are always reading books and never going to have any time to do some social things.
And just as a note, sort of from the technical side of things, we do designate at least a couple honors floors that allow honors, non-honors pairs. So for rooming together with a non-honors student, it is possible. As far as the seniors this year, we're still in the finalization process of figuring out which 2 halls that's going to be. Typically, it's not a living learning community, so it won't be Case Hall or Holmes or Snyder Phillips. But we are working on doing that, and it will be clearly labeled when you sign up for housing selection. So honor students have separate housing selection, so when you go on to choose your room, it'll say this hall allows honors, non-honors pairs, or this floor. The next question comes from Jenna. She's asking, can anyone talk about the pre-vet program? And is there a working farm on or near campus? So this might be a question where Dr. German has to chime in for a second, but I'll go ahead and see if any of our students want to take a stab at things.
So I'm not a pre-vet like major, but I did have to take a class first semester that was Intro to Sustainable Agriculture and Food Systems for my nutrition major. And we actually did go to an MSU farm for that class. We took like a field trip, and we were looking at more of the agriculture side of it, but there were definitely, it was a working farm and it was completely student run. And so there definitely are farms in the area. I'm sure Dr. German can give like a little more specific information, but they are there.
Yeah, I don't know that I need to add too much. That's awesome that you were out at the farms, Fiji. MSU has a lot of land designated for various research facilities connected with farms. So there are farms, and then there are also research centers for specific animals, which is great. If you wanted to work with dairy cattle, there's a whole research facility designated. So, I mean, as just one example. The pre-vet program is accessible just by searching pre-vet from the MSU homepage. I think you'll get to the set of classes that you need. Just like pre-med, pre-vet has a set of classes that are recommended to take before you apply to vet school. And so you can certainly search that. And also there are pre-vet advisors, just as there are pre-med or other pre-health major advisors. So there's lots of help as you're developing your program. And so that's a little bit about it. And the Honors College, of course, works closely with those advisors. And they are a great resource as you're planning for any professional school. Yeah, and we hope you get involved in the farms while you're on campus. Usually you would just, in some cases there's transportation out to them, but there are also buses that can help you get closer to the farms from campus. So, great question.
And just as a small aside, I just received an email, I want to say about a month ago, saying that MSU's vet school is ranked 3rd in the United States. So that's a pretty great point of pride for us, and just as many of our students who are looking at graduate school. I mean, many of them are thinking about law school, med school, vet school. So I think you'd fit right in with our honors community here in preparation for that. And we hope that the students who are active in things like research and education abroad will be very competitive applicants for vet school in just a couple years. So Jenna asks, just to elaborate a little bit more on the residence hall environment. So what are the Honors College rooms like, and the bathroom situation? So if you talk like about the different types of halls, and then are animals allowed, and are there any living communities?
I guess I can jump in here. So the Honors College rooms are not really different from the rooms in your residence hall. So MSU residence halls tend to have 2 styles of rooms, I guess you could call them. You have suite style rooms, and you have communities, and you have like community style rooms. So it's actually based on the bathroom situation. So you have suite style, suite style bathrooms and community style bathrooms. So most buildings in like the East neighborhood and other neighborhoods are suite style. So it's 2 rooms with 2 rooms making up 1 suite with a bathroom in between. But then community style, which you'll find in North and the Brody neighborhood, have like have like 1 bathroom for a floor, which has like the cubicles you need, showers and everything. So it depends on the neighborhood that you choose, and like the residence hall that you choose to live in. As for are animals allowed? So unfortunately, when it comes to having animals like in your rooms on campus, you can only have either service animals or emotional support animals. So for either service animals or emotional support animals, you have to register them with the RCPD, the Resource Center for Persons with Disabilities. However, you can have like fish in your room, or like, however, they have to be non-carnivorous fish. So you can have non-carnivorous fish or emotional support animals or service animals. And most residence halls on campus are like living learning communities. They're like residential communities. So you'll find that there is certain preference for students who live in certain buildings if they are in a certain major. It's not necessary, but for some communities, it's like absolutely essential. For instance, if you're coming into Lyman Briggs College, you have to live in Holmes Hall during your first year. If you're in the James Madison College, it's like important for you to live in Case Hall. But you can have some flexibility if you're in the business college. For instance, a lot of students who are in the business college are in McDonald Hall, but you have some of them living in Holmes Hall. You have some business students living in Acres or Hubbard, and you have like Wilson Hall is, for instance, for engineering majors, but you have engineering majors living in Case Hall or Holden Hall. So some communities, it's kind of all over the place. You have some flexibility of where you want to go, but others, like if it's an actual living learning community or residential college, you're expected to live in that building.
Any pieces to add here before we move on? All right, so Sydney asked a great question to talk a little bit more about H-STAR. So small plug, I'm glad that we have the time to chat a little bit about that. I know Mackin and VG will be some of our leaders for H-STAR next year, so they can certainly talk about how to get involved, but Joseph is one of our current leaders, so I'm gonna defer to him to sort of start off, and hopefully everybody can touch on this a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So H-STAR stands for Honors College Students Actively Recruiting, as Mackin gratefully put it in the beginning, because we were all saying H-STAR and no one understood what that meant. It is one of our Honors College specific organizations. So MSU has over 900 plus registered student organizations. So, you know, all of us say we're in parts of these different organizations, but there are a couple that are specific to the Honors College, such as the Honors Times 2 program, the Honors College Activities Board, and H-STAR is one of them, which is Honors College Students Actively Recruiting. And so basically our goal is we like to tell people about how great our experience has been at MSU and want to encourage other students to at least think about MSU and consider us as a institution where they might find a good home. Because I know that before I came to MSU, I did not, until I came to like the ADS scholarship weekend and talked to other students, I didn't really consider MSU until I was talking to other current students. And so we make it really a pressing concern that we want to make sure that you can talk to current students like ourselves and get a feel to see if MSU is where you want to be. And so that's kind of what we do. We do panels like this. During the year, we're also big parts of the ADS scholarship competition. We go out and do events for other schools if they need it. So we're very relevant around campus to make sure that people know what the MSU Honors College is all about. If anyone has anything else to add, though, I encourage you to add it.
I mean, I could just jump in real quick and add on that. I had a very similar experience to Joseph, where coming from California, I obviously didn't know anyone, especially when I visited MSU. I was kind of a stranger for like maybe the first night when I got there. But the first time I visited, it was for this ADS Alumni Distinguished Scholarship Weekend. And as soon as I got into Brody Hall to start signing in and registering, I felt so welcomed on campus, because you have all of these H-STAR members that were there not just asking you like, oh, how's it going? But they're like actually trying to get to know you and develop a relationship with you. And that for me was really important, because visiting other institutions during senior year, I didn't really feel that. One of the things I was looking for at MSU was a sense of community, somewhere where I'm not just going to get strong academics and strong participation in clubs, but somewhere where I could be a part of a community that's bigger than myself. And by interacting with all these H-STAR members at the ADS weekend, that really showed me that the Spartan community is one that's really strong, really tight-knit, where everyone, especially people in the Honors College, are always going to be looking out for each other and helping each other out and offering guidance and support. And that was something that I recognized I wanted to be a part of. So I joined H-STAR this year to be able to give students a similar experience, because when looking for a college, it's important to balance the personal aspect with it as much as the academic aspect, because you have to be able to look for an institution that's going to give you what you want personally and fulfill like your soul and your spirit and what you want to like make you happy, in addition to the academics and being able to be ready for a career.
I'll just add real quick. So the reason that I decided to join was because I was just thinking, like, I remembered how hard it kind of was senior year. Like, you know, there's like so many different options of things to do, like, and places to go. And, you know, you don't know, like, oh, like, what's the absolute best place for me? Or like, it's just kind of hard, like, navigating things. Or like, I had questions about like random things that like were like super specific. I was like, and, you know, they all like mattered to me. So I just wanted to join an organization where I could, you know, reach out to high school students and answer those questions that I know that you guys have. And it's, you know, it's like a tough time of your life. You know, you're obviously making big decisions. So I just wanted, you know, to join, you know, an organization where I could really, you know, interact with students and kind of help them, guide through that process of, making these big decisions. And I was really happy with what, I ended up picking here at MSU and joining and accepting my honors invitation. And so I just kind of wanted to help, other people know like what we're about to help them make the best decision.
I'm muted, sorry. Just as a quick note, we are, of course, always welcoming new members. So as you come into MSU as a freshman, there will be an opportunity for you to learn more and come to our meeting. We do a big training typically in the fall semester before our recruiting efforts start ramping up in October and November. But we do a number of on-campus visit programs before ADS, and we do a number of sort of small, one-off different presentations and events to different prospective students. So we can't do what we do to help recruit all of you without our great student volunteers. So this is a great opportunity for me to thank all of them for the time that they spend and the work that they do to help us out, because recruiting is very much a team sport. So Matthew has the next question here, and I think this is one of the best questions. Is it feasible to double major in non-related fields? For example, chemistry and philosophy, and put in parentheses, science/humanities.
I'd say it's absolutely possible. That's the beauty of like coming to MSU. You have the flexibility to like double major in non-related fields. So to make sure that the whole process goes smoothly, always make sure you connect with your advisors. Once you come over here, once you come to MSU, discuss with your advisors on what your plans are, or else at least what you're thinking about, so that you can have an idea of a specific direction that you can go, and that way you can plan your schedule as you go along. MSU has resources, so you will not only have advisors for that specific major, but you'll also have honors advisors for that specific major who will ensure that all of those requirements that you have to complete in order to graduate actually turn out really well. I had a friend of mine, she were double majored in physiology and music. I don't remember it was in the College of Arts and Humanities. So she's double majoring in music and physiology, and so she had to so she enjoyed doing it. She loved doing it. It wasn't too difficult for her because she made sure that she connected with the right resources. So make sure that just make sure that you're not afraid to reach out, and that you're not trying to walk and you don't feel like you're walking into the unknown, because there are people who are there to support you. Make sure you make use of the right resources, because it's absolutely doable.
All right, so we have about 10 minutes left. So certainly if you have any additional questions, now would be the perfect time to ask. And again, we're so thankful to have you all here. I'll just throw out one quick question for everybody on the panel. When you think about our seniors right now, it's the 24th of April, right? We have about a week left before that May 1 deadline. So just talking about how you came to your own decision and sort of making that, those options that you weighed and ultimately what made you choose MSU. I think that's a great question to ask everybody.
So I'll go ahead and start, because I was in your guys' shoes last year, and I sympathize with you quite a bit. Choosing a college was pretty tough, and it was one of, if not the biggest decision you're going to make in your life at this point. And I'd say the biggest thing that I looked for, I alluded to it a little bit earlier, was fit. So there's this metaphor that I like to use to explain what I was looking for. It's like shopping for sweaters almost, my college search experience was. So when you're looking for these different sweaters that have all the different school logos on them, right? You're going to be looking at how cool the sweater looks on the outside, right? Something that you can visually look at and you're attracted to. But then you also go up to the sweater and you're going to feel it. You're going to try and get a sense of what it's made of, the material. You'll look at what material it is and what exactly it's made out of and who made it. And then maybe you'll look at the price tag, and that'll be a factor as well, as it is for a lot of people, because college would be an expensive thing. And I found that for a lot of schools that I was going to, and a lot of schools I got accepted to, that they were really good in the sense that they were made out of a really nice material and they looked really attractive. But I found that I would try them on and they wouldn't exactly fit. But then when I came to MSU and I got to learn about MSU, especially a lot through ADS weekend and talking with H-Star members, I found a college that had the perfect blend of everything, the perfect combination of good sizing, had a good material. Green and white are some really good colors, if you ask me, slowly becoming my favorite colors. And overall, you just need to find somewhere where you're going to be able to connect beyond just the academics, because that's important, but you need that sense of community. You need that sense of home. And that's definitely something I found in East Lansing.
I don't know if I can top Mackin's metaphor, but I just want to say, like, I also was in your position just last year, and I know it's a tough decision to make. And I know at the beginning of the year of my senior year, I had absolutely no idea where I was going to end up. It was just, I didn't have like one specific like dream school, but it's definitely like, I would say like keep an open mind. And sometimes you'll be tempted to pick somewhere just because that's where your friends are going from high school, or that's just kind of where you always, or maybe your parents went there. But I think like obviously at the end of the day, it's your decision to make. And I think like go to as many of those campus events as possible. For example, like MSU, I highly recommend coming to ADS weekend if you're able to, because then you can see like the campus itself. You can see how you feel on the campus, because that's like super important at the end of the day. If you don't like vibe with the school, just because even if you've always pictured yourself there, then that's not doing the best for yourself. So I feel like really have to consider like all your options. Be like, okay, like this is what I want to study. Where can I get like good resources, or where can I have like a good program to do that? And then what are the kinds of people that come to this school? Are they super competitive? Some people thrive under the pressure, or are they a lot, really helpful, supportive community? Do you need that? And also what I liked about MSU is it's a huge school. I love that, Big Ten feel, being a part of that large community, but also through the Honors College and Lyman Briggs, I was able to have like smaller communities. So I kind of had both of those situations. So it's kind of, I think that is a really cool aspect here. And so I would say, consider all of those things. And at the end of the day, it's your decision to make, not anyone else's.
I'm just going to add one super tiny point on to VG's whole point about the whole component of small groups and small organizations in the university. You're able to make a big university like MSU smaller by the clubs and activities that you get involved in and the academic organizations, but it's harder to make a small university big. And that was a big factor in my decision as well.
And I will just note that if I hadn't heard Mackin use that sweater metaphor before, I would assume that he just looked at VG and saw that she was wearing the Michigan State sweater and just made it up on the fly. But I know that that's not what happened. Just before we go, I know we have just a few more minutes. I know that some of you are high school juniors and that we did not talk about how to get into the Honors College. So I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention that process. So you can apply to Michigan State starting in August of your senior year. So you can apply through the Common App, you can apply on our website, you can apply through the Coalition app. Once you're admitted to MSU, we automatically would consider you for admission. I would highly recommend going to our website to learn more about what we're looking for. We have a whole page on high school admissions. We're looking obviously for students with really great grades, but we're also looking for students who challenge themselves in the classroom, students who do well on the ACT or SAT. We're going to look at a variety of factors, consider everybody in a holistic way, and then typically you'll receive an invitation between 6 and 8 weeks after you've been admitted to the university. And that should include scholarship information if you're eligible. We have a lot of information on our website, but please do keep in touch with us. I think that's my best advice other than come and visit when it is safe to do so. So I'll go ahead and leave my contact information at the bottom. If any of our students want to leave their contact info, if you have questions for them, I'd be happy to do that. Looks like we have one more question before 3, so I want to make sure we can address that. So for Alex, he asked, how do you find the professor you're working with for the PA? So it looks like he has a PA offer, but a little bit confused on how that works. And then it looks like Lillian asked, what if you do not get any scholarship offers? So let's see if we can answer both of these really quick here.
I'll go real quick about the whole PA offer. So what happens is Dr. Mikamonaco, who used at least back in my day, used to handle assigning people to PA. So he kind of asked our interests at first, like just to get an understanding of fields that we are interested in. And then Dr. Mikamonaco sent me an email saying, would you be interested in working in this lab? This is the kind of research that they're working on. I went through it and it was more computer science focused, and I'm a computer engineering major, and I just thought to myself, you know what, this isn't exactly my thing. I want to work in a more electrical engineering hardware based setting. And so I sent an email back saying, is it possible for maybe a more hardware focused lab? Because that's where my interests lie. And then Dr. Mikamonaco paired me with my current lab saying, how about this lab? This is what they're working on. Check them out and let me know what you think about them. And then I kind of went through their lab, went through their work, and I was really impressed. And I was like, I want to be part of this lab. Like, I would love to be a PA in this lab. And I've been working in that lab for 3 years now. Like, that one decision to kind of go with my gut, to go with what I like, and just maybe see if there was a better fit for me, has provided me with like 3 years worth of research experience. So like, you get a chance to evaluate what you like, and then you'll also have the opportunity to decide a bit, like sort of like kind of consider the decision, and you'll get to evaluate your decision at the end of your first year of doing the PA in case you want to switch labs going into your second year. So there's a lot of flexibility involved in the program.
You go, Joseph, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to talk about the scholarship. So you could go ahead and finish the PA thing if you have something else.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say, Dr. Mikamonaco, he like will send out a survey. I think it was maybe like early June or like late May. So it'll be like kind of more in a month from now. But in that survey, you fill out your research interests, and then in August you'll get your placement. And then that's when, like Kanishka said, if you're not exactly happy with it, you can always kind of email him. He's really flexible, and he wants to put you in the best possible position. For me, so when I got my position, I actually met with my professor, and I really liked the lab that I'm in. I kind of specified on my like survey, you can even list like an exact professor and lab if you like are really interested in one, or you can kind of be like, I have no idea what I want to do, and he'll kind of just put you where he thinks you'll fit best, and he does really good with that. So that's kind of how that works. So look out for an email and maybe like a month, maybe early June.
I realize it's 3, but can I quickly answer the scholarship question? Or okay, very quick thing. Yes, so maybe you're coming in and you've applied for some of these ADS big time scholarships and you didn't manage to get them. That's totally okay. A lot of people I know do not get these scholarships, but they still decide to come to MSU. And that's still because the Honors College is amazing, and there's a lot of opportunities to get scholarships outside of MSU or even in MSU once you get here. I was scrolling down the list recently, so it's like award season right now for all the departments, and so I'm in the math and physics departments. And I was scrolling down the list as they announced these, and I knew about half the people who got these awards through the Honors College. So when you come to MSU, and if you're part of the Honors College, you're automatically at like another benchmark, and you're in perfect place to receive some of these like research fellowships, or the NIFS office, like we mentioned, where you can get international fellowships. I know the person who got the Goldwater Scholarship for MSU this year. Like, these are all the people who I interact with like most of the day. So this is one of those great opportunities you have coming to MSU, is that you surround yourself by a cohort of people who are just as driven and motivated as you. And that was one of the best things I found when I was able to come to MSU, was that all these people were getting all these esteemed scholarships, all these awards, and I was very proud to be among these people. So
Yeah, and just a quick note, we do have a lot of opportunities, I think once you get to campus, certainly, but if you have any extenuating circumstances or high financial need at this stage, please do reach out to us. We do have a limited pool of money, so I can't guarantee anything, but there's certainly room for us to talk more, and hopefully we can help students who need it. But again, thank you all so much for taking the time. Thanks to our current students for being on our panel remotely here. Best of luck to all of you in your college search. To you juniors, we certainly hope to see your applications sometime early next fall. So with that being said, I think that's it for us, but Thanks again for attending, and hopefully we'll see you soon.